Hello, my name is Rob Summers, the Big Sur Shaman. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I would like to share with you the shamanic traditions from the Incas for your personal healing and the healing of the world. Good afternoon, I'm Rob Summers, the Big Sur Shaman, and I wanted to talk to you today about how we actually connect with spirit. So, in our Western world, most of the time we pray to spirit and we try to get spirit to come to us. In the Incan cosmology, we have to pray to spirit to meet spirit halfway. So, what this means is, think of this analogy. At the high school freshman dance, at my high school freshman dance, all of the kids were against the wall because they were afraid to ask someone to dance. And the universe mirrors perfectly what we put out. And if that's fear, confusion, and anxiety, that's exactly what comes back to us. But if we have the courage to step off the floor and off the wall and onto the floor, which means surrendering that illusory separate sense of self, Spirit looks down and says, "Oh, look, this one wants to dance," because it's so unusual. Most people are much too frightened to surrender that illusory separate sense of self that they've built to protect themselves from their fear, so they stay against the wall. But those that step off, Spirit comes down and starts to dance with you. Suddenly, you're dancing with the creator of everything, and you have no idea where your life might go. And what Spirit does is, Spirit says, "Oh, look, when they were building this illusory separate sense of self of Rob learned all these magnificent skills and techniques. I'm going to use him as a tool in the world." And Spirit begins to just flow through you, through that voice in your belly, and all of your logistics are taken care of. Suddenly, all of the lights are turning green as you're driving down the road. But the only way this can happen is to give up that separate sense of self, which doesn't mean that you aren't you anymore. All it means is that you identify yourself in alignment with heaven and earth, love, basically. And you can use the mask of Rob any way you want in the world, as long as you don't forget who you really are. Spirit takes care of all of those logistics. Because over here as Rob, as magnificent as I might think I am definitely a watch battery compared to being in this alignment with heaven and earth, compared to be surrendered to Spirit. And all of my actions in the world take on much, much greater power. And I want to give you another metaphor, analogy about this, because I'm a bit of a movie buff. If you've seen the movie, the Indiana Jones movie, where Indy is looking for the Holy Grail, the Cup of Christ, Sean Connery is actually his father in the movie, and they're somewhere in the Middle East. It looks like it may be Petra or something like that. And they're in this cave system, and the Nazis have shot his father, and he is basically dying in the cave system. And Indy knows that the only possibility to save his father is a drink from the Grail. So he leaves his father's friend there to watch him, and Indy follows the clues and racing through all the corridors of the cave until finally he comes out on this ledge. And it's a 1,000-foot drop. And he can see that the Grail is there, but there's no way to get there. And he looks at the clue, and the clue says, take the first step and the bridge will appear. And Indy says, nobody could do that. That is a leap of faith. And at that very moment, his father's friend yells, hurry, Indy, your father's dying. So Indiana Jones, being Indiana Jones, closes his eyes, clutches his breast, and steps out into nothing, and boom, his foot hits the bridge. That is the kind of surrender that Spirit demands of us if she's going to come down and dance with us. This is why so few people actually step out onto the floor. And it's very, very important. It's literally, from my point of view, the meaning of life, to be able to surrender that illusory identity that we've created from fear to coming back into alignment, to our healed state, to alignment between heaven and earth, love, wholeness, connection to everything. For me, that is literally the meaning of life.